The Puck Portfolio with Andy MacNeil.
Hey, welcome to the Puck Portfolio. My name is Andy MacNeil. I'm your host. I'm here on weekdays to provide NHL projections, picks, and betting advice throughout the NHL playoffs. Nice little winner on the Dallas Stars, underdog last night in Colorado. They get the big win. They're up 3-1 in their series. But the Rangers, unfortunately, did not eliminate the Carolina Hurricanes. They had a chance to do that on Monday night. They now hold a 3-2 series lead after being up 3-0 after the first three games. And to talk about that series, I'd like to bring in Arthur Staple from The Athletic. Arthur, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Andy. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Other than, kind of wallowing a little bit over the Boston Bruins and what looks like a pretty likely exit from the playoffs here tonight. But I'll get over it. I've got a new team to cheer for. That's the Dallas Stars, holding some Stanley Cup futures, which I'm feeling pretty good about now. Especially after watching this series between the Canucks and the Oilers. I don't think either of those teams are going to stand much of a chance versus the Stars based on how they're playing right now. But the Rangers, man, had a great chance to sweep the Hurricanes. I guess a pretty unexpected result, but they did win the first three games of this series, so they had a chance. Failed to do so, and then failed to win in five. So we are going to see a sixth game in Raleigh on I guess Wednesday. Is that correct?
Thursday.
Thursday. Okay, extra day here between the two games. So. What has changed? I think the Rangers really came out and shocked people in game one. They controlled the play versus the Hurricanes, not something you see very often, with any team playing this Carolina team. But that's kind of, gone the other way as the series has gone on. We've seen the last couple of games, things have really shifted more towards Carolina being the dominant team. Was it just some similar to what we saw in the Islander series, where Carolina might not have looked so strong to start, but as the series goes on, they get their legs under them, they get more comfortable, and they just start to take over? Is that what we're seeing here in this series?
A little bit. I think the Rangers formula really for a lot of the regular season, which is not necessarily something you see throughout an 82 game season, is exceptional special teams, exceptional goaltending, and just their star players raising the level of their game. They're not a particularly deep team. You look at their bottom six and maybe their second and third pairs on D. These aren't possession monsters like a Carolina. They're not a team that is going to cycle all 18 guys on the ice and wear you down. They're a star driven team. It starts with a guy in net, Igor Shesterkin, and I think maybe I don't know if people that don't watch them often, you just take a glance at that first round series and not knowing really how bad the Capitals are and how kind of unjust it was that they were even in the playoffs given their goal differential and how bad they were all year. You see the sweep and you say, okay, this is President's Trophy winning team in the Rangers, great regular season, sweep a team in the first round, get a week off before they face a team like Carolina, which is good to get your rest in to prepare against that team. And you're right, they look great in game one, a deserved win in that opening game. 2 and 3, maybe more coin flip type games, but I think the difference for me and talking to a lot of people around the league, the data obviously very much on Carolina's side, but I think for the Rangers, if you get a guy like Igor Shesterkin who's going to get a bunch of low danger shots against him from Carolina's guys, which is the way that Carolina plays, it really warms up a guy like Shesterkin. I think he's a guy like a lot of elite goalies. He likes to see pucks. He likes to be able to ease into games. And Carolina wasn't really doing enough to get those good, to working hard for their bounces, kind of the way that their offense operates those first three games. They had some, but they really weren't completing a lot of their chances, particularly on the power play. And the Rangers stung them with a shorthanded goal in one of those games down in Carolina to kind of get back in it in game three. And then the winners in overtime. Great deflection by Artemi Panarin, and you're thinking like, all right, well, the Rangers are getting better goaltending. Carolina went from Freddie Anderson to Pyotr Kochetkov, didn't work out. Carolina's desperate. And then really game four, I think it was funny to hear Rod Brind'Amour say it was their worst game of the series, and they still managed to come out with the win because of the power play goal late. And then game five, I think from a statistical standpoint, probably one of the worst games you'll ever see a good team play in the playoffs. Steve Valiquette, my buddy, former podcast partner who runs Clearside Hockey, one of the good data sites out there that teams use. Rangers had 0 high danger chances at 5-on-5 and on the power play in that game. 1 high danger chance for the game, and it was Jacob Trouba's shorthanded goal. I don't imagine you could find in the last 10 years of playoff hockey another game like that, maybe one. So it was about as bad as the Rangers could play in a huge spot. And even at that, it was a 1-0 game. They were up going to the third. So I don't know that you want to feel too despondent riding the wave where they maybe felt like they were in great position, obviously up 3-0, but maybe not totally deserved. I don't know that they should feel like this is all over with and Carolina's going to come back, but it's been a wild ride, and I think maybe we're kind of where we thought we'd be, maybe just not how we'd get there because we all thought this was going to be a tight series.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, based on the odds tonight, obviously, the odds on Thursday, sorry, obviously Carolina will be a home favorite. Right now, we're seeing them in the minus 160-ish range, minus 170, some minus 165 out there. So a better chance than not that we will be back in New York watching these two teams in a game 7. So you probably made a smart decision saving yourself a trip and not going to Raleigh. But you mentioned the bottom 6, and I mean, looking at the points and the producers in this series, obviously you've got Panarin, Trocheck, Zibanejad, and Lafreniere, all with 6 points. So those players have stepped up. Kreider's got 4, so he's been productive in his own right, and pretty much all the top guys have stepped up offensively in this series, but they're not getting a lot of scoring from the bottom 6. Getting a little bit, I mean, as much as I guess you could hope for right now. But is there anybody that's not stepped up yet in this series that we're kind of waiting for here? Obviously, maybe an Adam Fox could maybe do more offensively, but I'm sure he's got his hands full with the Carolina forwards as well.
Yeah, I think Fox is probably your guy. He took that kind of knee-on-knee hit in Game 4 against Washington, and they had a week off, which obviously helped. But I think you can see he's still playing heavy minutes. Probably the most minutes I think of any of the Rangers D. But he doesn't look like himself. He's not as fully in command, especially on the point of the power play, and to be his best self, especially against Carolina's penalty kill, which was struggling early in the series, but now has kind of gotten back their aggressive shape and been able to really nullify a lot of what the Rangers were able to do in the first 2 games. You need Fox at full strength, and I don't know if he's there right now. So you see him sitting there with, I think it's 4 points overall in the playoffs. It's a guy who was a point per game producer in the playoffs his first 2 postseasons, including that long run to the conference final back in 22. So he's definitely one to watch. And I think if you look at some of the chance data, him and Ryan Lindgren kind of getting caved in chance-wise in this series. They're seeing a lot of the Sebastian Aho line, which has had some success the last few games. So,
Yeah.
Maybe it's a situation for Fox where he's, like you said, he's got to kind of focus on one thing if he's not 100% physically, and the offense is going to have to suffer. And Trouba's goal was only the second goal by a Rangers defenseman in the postseason. Both of them shorthanded, which is kind of wild. So, you're not seeing a lot from Eric Gustafsson this series. I think he's being forced to defend a little more than he would like on a pair with Trouba. And you've got that Keandre Miller, Braden Schneider pair, which struggled a little bit last night in Game 5, like a lot of the Rangers did, but otherwise has been pretty good. But I don't know that you're seeing the offensive push from the back end for the Rangers that you might need to sustain, not just winning this series, pulling this one out after losing the last 2, but giving them a real chance, whether it's against Florida or even beyond against a Dallas or somebody like that. So, I think Adam Fox's health and his ability to kind of run that power play efficiently is probably the main point you're looking at, is whether the Rangers can produce some points, produce some more offense, especially on special teams where they've been real good.
Yeah, and I think you make a great point. You talked about how the Rangers aren't one of those possession monsters. Well, the Florida Panthers, the Dallas Stars, they definitely fit into that category. So New York Stars are going to have to be good, not just in these next couple of games, but in the next 2 series as well. But I really appreciate you joining the show today, Arthur. By my count, I think the Rangers are going to move on about 70% of the time, but But yeah, I've been wrong before. So we'll see. Looking forward to game 6. But let's just say I'm looking forward to game 7 as well.
All right, cool. Thanks a lot, Andy. Appreciate it.
Take care. All right, great stuff from Arthur as always. And I think, yeah, he made a great decision staying back uh, in New York rather than traveling down to Raleigh because, based on the odds, based on what we thought we would see, the Hurricanes have taken over this series and will likely force a game 7 this weekend. So, yeah, looking forward to that. A team that I don't have much confidence in forcing a game 7, that is the Boston Bruins. They've got to win 2 more to do that, and they are big underdogs tonight in game 5. And yeah, it's going to be tough. The Boston Bruins currently, let's see here, whew, getting up to as high as plus 185 at some sports books, as low as plus 170 at others. NorthStar Bets, our sponsor, currently has the Bruins as drum roll, please. A plus 185 underdog. So pretty good price there if you're looking to bet the Bruins. I am not looking to bet the Bruins. I would if I didn't have any emotional stake in this game, maybe I would just say hell. I'm gonna toss a little bit on Boston, but I think I've got enough riding on this game emotionally that I don't need to beat my head against the wall with this team from a betting perspective. I'm on the over 6.5 goals tonight in Edmonton. Of course, the Canucks and the Oilers getting set to do battle in game 4. Edmonton currently a minus 200 money line favorite at NorthStar Bets, plus 170 on the other side for the Vancouver Canucks. Looks like a change in goal, though, for Edmonton, who finds itself facing a series deficit for the first time in the 2024 NHL playoffs. The Oilers apparently turning to Calvin Pickard, according to Frank Saravelli of Daily Faceoff. Uh, Picard did come in relief of Skinner in game 3. He faced 3 shots, stopped them all. And it looks like the Oilers are going to go with the veteran netminder in game 4. He's never started a playoff game. He did pretty good in the regular season, 23 games played, 909 save percentage, but he only won one of the 7 games that he played against playoff teams in the regular season. So he faced off against a lot of weak competition. So I think you have to take that into account. And I mean, he did trend towards allowing 3 or more often than not at times during the regular season as well. So that hasn't changed anything for me. I think betting on this game to go over 6.5 goals, still a smart strategy, just like it was in the first 3 games, and no reason to change anything here. The Oilers did generated 6 expected goals in Game 3, according to Evolving Hockey. I don't think Seelovs is going to be able to stop them if they repeat that performance or come anywhere close to repeating that performance. And I don't think turning to Picard out of desperation, at least that's what it seems like, doesn't change the fact that they still have a lot of defensive deficiencies. I mean, the Oilers have haven't held teams to 2 or fewer goals in 8 out of the last 10 playoff games. So you really see it. Vancouver, they are getting dominated from a shot volume perspective per se, but you look at natural stat tricks expected goals. They've got this one at 5-on-5, 47.7% when it comes to Vancouver's expected goals percentage. So Edmonton might be controlling 60% of the shots, but I'd say the Canucks offense, their attack has been more efficient and more potent, right? So you look at high danger shot attempts via natural stat trick, 26-22 edge in high danger shot attempts for the Oilers. So big edge in shots overall, but not a big edge in quality shots. And that's why these games are so close. So yeah, I like the over here, and the Picard start does not change anything for me. Edmonton, they're the series underdog for the first time, according to my projections. The Canucks have about a 53.5% chance of winning the series. So maybe still underestimating the old Canuckles a little bit, but yeah, I'm not going to be back in the Oilers. I don't know how could you. You gotta, there just seems to be fewer paths for an Oilers victory, even though they are the favorite here, and deservedly so. The chances of an Oilers blowout seem pretty unlikely. And it seems like they've had a lot of trouble holding the lead, and they've only really looked good when playing from behind. I think Vancouver's looked a lot more poised when the game has been close, and Edmonton's looked a lot more panicky, and especially in their own zone. A lot of Canucks goals have come by way of capitalizing on Edmonton mistakes, whereas Edmonton goals are just, mucking and grinding, which is not something that the Oilers are really accustomed to. So outside of the over 6.5 goals, that's a half unit play for me tonight. I got that at even money. Currently, it is you're probably the best you're going to find. Yeah, you might find even money, but mostly minus 105s out there. Currently at NorthStar Bets. Yeah, minus 105. So, yeah, I mean, I think the betting market still believes in Edmonton a bit, but based on what I'm seeing at some other sports books, there was I think a pretty significant move here. I mean, Vancouver had got as high as up to plus 186, and now they're down at plus 170 at some sports books. So yeah, I think the sharp money is on the Canucks, and rightfully so. I'm on the over 6.5 goals. I am. That is going to be it for tonight. Looking ahead to Wednesday, we've got the Avs and the Stars in action in Dallas. Stars looking to eliminate the Avalanche and move on to the Western Conference Final for the second time since 2020. They are currently no series price up right now at NorthStar Bets, but they are a minus 150 money line favorite. So I'm not going to be betting on the Dallas Stars. Safe to say, I think they should be priced around minus 140 ish in this game. I'm not ready to count the Avs out by any means. We were able to get plus 123 on Dallas in Game 4. I don't feel like taking minus 150 in Game 5. So yeah, got a winner last night on the Stars. Hope for a winner tonight on the over 6.5 goals in Edmonton. But other than that, I'm going to stand pat for now. Good luck with your bets. That does it for today's episode of the Puck Portfolio. Appreciate you all tuning in, and I'll see you next time.